Hey all, this is Andrew over at tfa.com, bringing you another video edition of Cool Geeky Things, where we're continuing to look at the Star Wars vinyl statues put out by Kotobukiya. Currently, as I've mentioned in the past few episodes, we are doing the holiday Kotobukiya sale. What we're doing is we're taking a great number of Star Wars Kotobukiyas, including this limited edition 30th anniversary Ralph McQuarrie concept art rendition, which we'll get into a little more detail in, and we're taking 50% off. These are items that routinely retail for $100. In this case, it was $200, and we're taking 50% off, basically, almost the entire universe. There's a huge selection ranging from Darth Vader to Luke to Leia to Han to Chewbacca, so all your favorites are there. You can save money. It's well priced, not only for the economy, but for the holiday season. Now, in particular today, I want to focus on this Ralph McQuarrie concept piece. Some of you are looking at this and you're saying, well, I know this fella over here. I mean, Darth Vader's Darth Vader, right? It's kind of hard to forget him. But some of you may be wondering what exactly is going on with this guy. I don't remember a guy with a gas mask. Well, what this is a rendition of Luke Skywalker as originally drafted by Ralph McQuarrie, who did a lot of the concept art for Star Wars. Now, this standoff here between Luke and Vader was a part of a concept piece originally created by McQuarrie to show how he, intended for them to be represented. And here you can see that Luke had visors, he had a gas mask, different costume entirely, and I'm going to take him off his base so I can show you, because we'll go over Darth Vader as well, don't worry, he's my favorite. But I want to take a look at this Luke in greater detail, because it's really pretty cool. First off, you can see how the lightsabers, let's start there. See how they were much more, the shape of them was far different. They've got that kind of bulb, and they aren't a solid blade. They've almost got this tapered look to them. I don't know how to describe it, but a friend of mine looked at it and she thought that they looked more elegant. And I guess for lack of a better word, I have to agree with her. I think they look pretty cool. And that's also present on the Vader one, so we'll take a look at that. Let's also take a look over here at the leg. I like the striations on this suit. It's obviously a much more colorful figure, and you can see that the way that the modeling and costume choice as envisioned here plays out, I mean particularly when you're looking at the mask and the goggles, but even more in general, just, you know, he's got this purple vest and orange pants. I mean, it's a much different feel in terms of costume and choice. And I think if they would have gone along that line, the movies might not have the same iconic look. As it is now, the costumes tend to be working class clothes for people in a space opera, for what it's worth. This has more of the flamboyance that you saw in episodes 1 through 3. Moving on from Luke, who I don't know what to say other than that's really cool. I'm very happy that it turned out the way it was. I like these pieces and I think they're great. I think they make fantastic statues. But I don't know if I would have resonated with a guy in a mask and goggles as much as I did the simple farm boy from Tatooine, right? And I think perhaps maybe that influenced some of the choice. Darth Vader. Now Darth Vader's Darth Vader, and there's very little here that differs greatly from what we know of him. As you probably have just noticed, these are meant to be shown together. They obviously constitute a battle, but they aren't joined. So they can be, they come as part of one set, but they can be set up separately. So if you want to use them to flank your desk or guard different areas or look at each other menacingly across a room, you've got that flexibility. Let's take a look here at Darth. Now Darth, and I'm going to zoom in real quick, so bear with me. Darth is Darth Vader, and you can see that altered lightsaber, and you can see a slight difference in the way the helmet is modeled. It doesn't have quite the drop on the front as it did in the final rendition. One thing of particular note here is his scale. Although Darth Vader has always been a looming figure, he's even larger in this concept art. I mean, he probably is roughly, compared to Luke, he would be somewhere in the 9-foot tall range if you followed this modeling. On his chest you can see the lack of lights and control panel. There's a box there, just like in the final version, but it lacks the LED life support system that was present in the final movie. And one thing, I think this is probably the most interesting, And you know, you probably can't see this very well, and I apologize for the contrast. One thing I recommend is to see these details better. Do yourself a favor, and if you go and check out www.tfa.com, that's www.tfaw.com. For all these statues that are in the holiday Kotobukiya sale, we're actually featuring close-up rotating 360-degree images. So you can actually turn the statue around right on the page, product page, and look at it up close and get a better feel for this, where somebody who actually knows what they're doing when they're given a camera and has some familiarity with lighting, instead of just a loud mouth and a fan for all things dorkery, has taken the time to create something that's really worth you looking at. That being said, let me show you the one cool thing about this, and then we'll wrap up this round of CGT. One thing that Darth Vader has here, which I do not believe I've ever seen, and this is prior to, is he's got a gun. Let me see if you can see it. He's packing heat. It's holstered, and this particular gun is sculpted in, so it doesn't actually come out. But just the fact that he's carrying heat, I think, shows the concept level of this. It's prior to them really having, I believe, fleshed out the entire idea of the Force and the connections that they were to make between the Jedi, even the fallen Jedi, who of course are the Sith, such as Vader, and the principles of honor in some case, but also just the idea that a gun is a lesser weapon. And although, you know, you see Luke using it, he's still in training, but you don't ever see Vader packing heat. And I think that's kind of cool that you can see here he still was. He also has an additional side cowl. He doesn't just have his cape, which he's well known for. There's this lower robe, which was also struck from the final design. In short, both of these put together make a really cool recreation of a classic piece of conceptual art that essentially determined a great amount of the feel for this movie. And despite variations such as the change in Luke's costume and the removal of the mask, you can still really see a lot of the elements that they were going for encapsulated in both of these. Check them out, take a better look at that gun. I don't know why it strikes me as so odd, but the fact that he's got a gun is just one of those things I obsess on. And you can check that out at www.tfa.com. So, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Remember, whatever you're into, we've got just the thing for your collection. And until the next edition of Cool Geeky Things, stay geeky.